Welcome to the Twins Click podcast. I am Claudia, and here we talk about the cultural and personal impact of our favorite artists, the Twins. Today, my guest is Christy. She's a therapist and a social worker, so I absolutely love the mental health aspect that she brings to the conversation. She talks about how the twins have impacted her life and specifically how they have helped her with her own mental health when she was struggling. So enjoy. Hi, Christy, welcome.
Hi, Claudia. Thank you for
Oh,
having me.
you're very welcome. So, where are you from and where are
Mhm.
you based? I love hearing
Okay.
all the different parts of the world where people are from.
I live in Denver, Colorado, in the United States, and I've lived here for over 25 years. I grew up in southern New Mexico, which is
Okay.
um, the state just south of us. So I grew up in a border town in New Mexico. So yeah, but I've been here a really long time.
So, how did you get into the twins? How did you stumble
Mhm.
into them? How did that happen for you?
Definitely stumbled. I don't even remember the exact year. I just remember
Okay.
discovering them on YouTube, and it wasn't like a video that they had uploaded. It was when they were really young and they were still dancing in the streets of Paris, and people
Wow.
were recording them
Mm.
and uploading their videos onto YouTube. And my whole family, we all would gather around and just watch them and just be so amazed by them. These two young guys with their big afros, and just thought they were amazing. And we just followed them all the way throughout. You know, we'd see them here and there on YouTube, of course, on So You Think You Can Dance, in movies, everything. It wasn't like a obsession the way it has definitely turned. I know a lot of people call it an obsession. Like I've really thought they were amazing for a really long time. My kids were really young at the time, and so they kind of grew up knowing who they twins were. And I, sometime around the pandemic, I was working from home a lot and stuck at home and in a really kind of dark place. My kids had finally grown up. You know, my youngest daughter graduated from high school in 2020. So I have three children, a girl, boy, girl. And so right after the pandemic, I was also an empty nester. Like my kids were gone and off to college and living their lives. And I was in just a really dark place.
It's a big shift, eh?
It was
Yeah.
because my life revolved around my kids for so long. Even though I've always been a working mom, they were still, and they still are, my number one priority. So
Right.
when my house got empty, I was just really sad, really, really sad.
Mhm.
And by about 2022, maybe in 2022, I was in a really bad place, and I was just watching YouTube, and I kind of rediscovered them. I never forgot about them or anything, but I really started the whole deep dive,
Mhm.
where you see one video and you just go and go and go and go and saw things I'd never seen before, saw things that were more recent of what they were doing. And what I noticed after a while was that I was feeling better.
Ah.
Like they were like medicine to me.
Mhm.
And I've heard other fans say this too, and I know that it's a phenomenon for sure. And being that I am in mental health, I'm a school social worker full time and a therapist part time. So I deal with mental health every day. Like
Yeah.
I'm either working or I'm working. I work a lot of hours and I work and I help. My whole goal in life is to help people, but I couldn't really help myself,
Yeah, that's the
you
hardest,
know?
isn't it?
It's so hard. And, I knew what steps to take. I knew, I'm a big proponent of everyone should try therapy at least once. It's
Yeah.
like this magical time that's just for you. So I definitely was not anti therapy for myself, but I'm also a terrible client because I know all the questions. I know what I'm supposed to say. I know how to keep things deep in.
So you find it hard to open up in therapy.
Very, very, very. So much more comfortable talking to other people about their own stuff.
To me, it's like it's the opposite. I would be like, boom, like opening up
I
completely, like
know.
finally somebody who hears me.
No, I'm like, can we talk about you? And they're like, no, Christy, that is not what we're here for. Like, but how was your day? So I was trying all the things I knew how to do, and I was still really struggling. And I just started watching and rewatching and
Mm,
just kind of immersing myself for hours
hmm
on a daily basis.
hmm
And what seemed what I finally kind of came to grips with is that I loved watching them dance together.
Mm.
I loved watching them root for each other the way that they are each other's number one
Cheerleaders,
fan.
yeah.
And oh my gosh, the way they look at each other and the way that they just have each other's back. And it just gave me hope again. Like, it was
Mm.
like, this is what love looks like. This is what is beautiful about, people, human beings, the world. This is what I was kind of feeling so kind of shut off and alone. And even though I didn't have to be alone, it was definitely self-induced. I was just feeling very separate, and seeing them just love each other
Seeing them
was
connected. Yeah.
amazing. It was like medicine for me, and
Wow.
I just it truly got me out of that dark place. And
Mm.
yeah, it's an interesting situation as a therapist to realize that I had no idea what I was doing, but I found a way to spark that joy again.
Yeah, amazing. That's so
So yeah.
beautiful. And I love that it is like that for some people. I've noticed for some fans, the love that Larry and Love have for each other is what really makes it super special.
Hmm.
And it's interesting
Yeah.
because for me, it's like it is that also, but it's not the primary thing. But for some people, it's the
Hmm.
primary thing.
And it definitely shifts for me, but at that time, that's what I
Yeah.
really needed and what
Mm.
really made an impact on my life and
Hmm.
made me kind of feel positive emotions again. And it was amazing to me. It was amazing. And I really did feel like that it was my medicine. It was my therapy just seeing them. And I also really, I mean, I've always loved how they dance, and they're so creative and they're so talented and they're so different, and they do things that no one has ever done before. And
Yeah.
the longevity is just so remarkable, and that they're still relevant, 20 years later is crazy. In dance, like, how can they still do that? How can they still do new and exciting things? So there's definitely lots of things that I love about them, but at that time, what really drew me in and got me to Instagram, actually, because I always just followed them on YouTube and
Hmm.
wherever I could kind of see them. But I was on Instagram, but I never followed celebrities on Instagram before. It just wasn't my thing.
Right.
And I started to see their TikTok videos actually before, and I was like, oh, they probably have an
Right.
Instagram. So I joined that in like late 2022 or early 2023, and that just opened a whole new world. And
Okay.
obsession really began, because then it was like, I'm part of this fandom, I'm part of this
Right.
thing
Of the community as well.
and the community, yeah. And
Yeah.
so that really opened up all kinds of other things. But I'd never even thought about going to see one of their workshops or anything like that before I joined Instagram. I mean, I'd seen their stuff on in videos and stuff, but they never came to Colorado ever. They've never been here as far as I know. So I just never really even thought about it.
Yeah.
But once I joined Instagram, I'm like, oh, people travel to go see them. Like, that's not like a weird thing. I could do that.
Mm, yeah,
My
right.
kids are grown now. I can go.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, in 2023, I went to my first workshop.
Yeah. You touched on the community. So did you manage to connect with some fans and
Yeah,
form
yeah,
friendships and things like that?
yes. And it's a double-edged sword. The fandom can be a difficult place to be. It can definitely feel cliquish. Well, play twins clique. So it can feel like you're on the outside, on the outs. And but you can also, like, I've met some of the kindest, most wonderful people
Hmm.
through the fandom as well. But there's been some times where I'm just like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. People are mean,
Yeah. It is such a weird thing. Like I find that first of all, fandoms are just, these high emotional places, like any fandom.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
because, the emotions fly high, so people can get so easily
Oh
unhinged and
my gosh.
attached
And competitive, and there's
and then you form like
the
all these
hierarchy.
theories like
Yes,
that are
and it's just
completely
like,
in your head
yes, yeah. And being a longtime fan that I was, because literally they were kids. Larry and Laurent
mm,
were babies when I first started watching them. But to join the Instagram fandom so late,
aha,
and to kind of not receive that kind of, like, I was
acknowledgement.
treated like a newbie, and I'm like, I've been around longer. You're like younger than my kids. I've known about them longer than you've been alive, lady. So yeah, so it was
Yeah,
kind of like, do I belong here?
yeah.
Am I too late to join this? Like, there seems to be people who are very connected
Mhm.
and almost like a family together. And I'm
Mhm.
kind of out here.
Mhm.
It's funny because when I went to the first workshop that I went to in Houston, I just knew I was going to be the oldest person there. I was like bracing myself, like, okay, it's going to be okay. I've been a fan a long time. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to be around a lot of young people. I was not the oldest person by a long shot. So it was very interesting.
So beautiful.
Yes,
Like I find you really have the biggest age span that
they do.
it's so
They do. They
beautiful.
attract people from all over the world, so many different circumstances, ages,
Abilities.
genders, abilities,
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
everything. They have fans from every walk of life, and I think that's beautiful too.
I think that's a testament of true art. Really, that's what true art does. There's no boundaries, it's just pure connection.
So true.
Yeah, so how was that experience for you to see them live?
Oh my gosh, it was surreal. It
Yeah.
was so wild. When they well, first of all, they were like an hour and a half late.
Yeah.
No surprise. But I was like, my anxiety and nervousness was just rising the whole time I'm waiting because we're waiting in a line, and I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Every time someone would walk by, I'd be like, okay, it's not them, okay. And then they finally show up, and they were exhausted.
Yeah.
They did the Dallas one the night before.
Oh
They were
wow.
on tour with Beyonce. They were doing workshops at almost every stop. They were just exhausted and in pain, and I was just like, how are they going to do
Mm,
this? Like, they walk in and Larry's like, "Yeah, sorry, we're late." "Well, nope, I'm not sorry. You get what you get with us." And I was like, and he was talking about how badly his feet hurt. Lo was just very subdued. Like, he wasn't saying anything at first, and we were all waiting for the meet and greet, and I was just like, how's this gonna go? I was just more and more nervous. But then
okay.
when they started, I was just like, oh my God, they're like right there. I was just blown away. Like, as I've been watching them
Mhm.
since they were little kids, basically. I mean, they weren't, they were teenagers, but to me, they were little kids.
Mhm.
And there they were. And, I think I even said as I was walking up, oh my God, I'm so nervous. And Larry was like, don't be nervous, and gave me a big hug. And I was just like, he's the nicest, he's the sweetest. And
That's
Laurent
nice.
was very subdued, but
Mm,
Larry was very welcoming, very kind. They're so different. They're so different, but they're both great in their own ways. And I was kind of towards the front of the line. I was one of the first fans, so they were still just kind of getting warmed up, and Laurent was pretty subdued. And then I told them, like, that to me, I felt like they saved me because I was in such a dark place. And Larry's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But
ah,
Laurent paid attention right away. Like, he feels that. Like, he connects with that. Larry's just like, how can this be true?
right.
I've
Yeah.
seen him in interviews be like, people say that, but he just doesn't understand it. But that's okay. He doesn't have to understand. But Laurent kind of sat up, and I was like, and I'm a therapist.
Yeah.
And he like grabbed my hand, and it was just like me and Laurent after that, just talking. And Larry's just like, you know.
And what did
But it was so great. It
that's
was
so
so
beautiful.
great.
Such a beautiful
It
moment.
was.
What did Lo
It
say?
was.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's such a blur, but he was just like, basically, that it was beautiful, that he was just really touched by it, and he thanked me for telling him. And
Oh.
I told it at the time they were still doing their mental health tour with Kids Right Network, and I was like, I'm trying so hard to get you guys to come to, because I don't teach, I'm a social worker at a school, and I'm at a very high need. I work in one of the most impacted neighborhoods in Aurora, Colorado,
Okay.
and it's very poor, lots of immigrants and poverty and drugs and gangs, and just a beautiful community though. These kids are just amazing. They're so resilient. They're so wonderful, and a lot of them, have had a lot of trauma in their lives. And I thought, what an amazing situation that would be if I could get Les Twins to come to a mental health workshop. And I was in the process of talking to the lady from Kids Right, and I was talking to Les Twins team, and then that all just went away, and so I never was able to complete that mission.
I
But
see. Okay.
so I was talking to them a little bit about that when I had the meet and greet, that I really wanted them.
They stopped the mental health tour and then
They
you
did,
never.
and yeah, their connection with Kids Right Network, who was really organizing the tour part of it, and had a curriculum, and had like I think she was either a social worker or a psychologist, or someone was organizing all of that. They parted ways. I don't know why. I don't never got the story as to why, but
I see.
once they parted ways, they just got busy doing Jason Derulo and
Yeah,
all that stuff.
because they were supposed to tour in the US because I've seen only mainly
Hmm.
Canada and but they never really toured the US with it.
Yeah, when I was talking to the lady from Kids Right, they already had some places set up for like late 23, early 24, but then something
Oh,
happened and yeah, it was
so
canceled.
it was
So
meant to be
was
like a
never
long-term
able.
project that ended up.
Yeah,
Wow, okay.
yeah, I know.
I
So that was
didn't know.
really, that was kind of a bummer, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. There is that moment that is on your page that I think has got many views of Law dancing and he touched you.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh gosh.
As his freestyling.
So yeah, so they did the workshop part. It was a big workshop because it was
Like
in
a lot
a
of
dance
people.
studio, so a lot of
Yeah.
people, a lot of the young people, especially from that dance studio, had signed up for the workshop. So they did a great choreography, and at that time, they didn't allow people to record the choreography and all that kind of stuff. But it was awesome. They both did amazing,
Mm.
and the dancers all seemed to have a really great time, and it was packed. And I just sitting there like a kid, and I was just so giddy, just watching them actually work and see how
Yeah.
they do that and not on video but right there in front of me, and then they did the after party thing, the cipher, and I happened to go to Lowe's side. My daughter stayed on the Larry side, and I happened to sit down right there on this little stage thing, and Laurent sits right next to me, so I didn't move. I stayed there the night.
As you would.
So I got so I got really great, like, right in front of me doing freestyles, and he's sitting by me and he's kind of, touching my shoulder and singing to me and whatnot. And I swear my soul left my body when
Uh,
he was singing to me and he touched my shoulder. I was just like, okay, he's right here.
what
Like,
a
and just
beautiful
being able, he's
moment. Like it feels like almost like a full circle moment from you being a fan for so long and so
just amazing.
yeah.
And they're just so, like, it was shocking to me. Like, they're just these normal guys. They don't come in with like this big entourage. They don't have security. They're just right
Yeah.
there. They're just there mixing with their fans and fellow dancers. And, you know, it's they're so different as far as my idea of what celebrity is.
Hmm.
They're just not that. They're just down to earth, and they're bigger than life too. They're definitely like, whoa, but they're still right there with you. It's a pretty amazing experience. It's pretty mind blowing to be like sitting right next to your very favorite artist in the world, not behind some rope somewhere, there's a stage way up there and you're way back here. They're like right there beside you, and that's just never experienced that.
The cool thing about having them as favorite artists is that, like, because if you have that level of connection with, let's say, like Beyonce, obviously you
Oh yeah,
can't have that level
you
of
can't.
experience.
Yeah, yeah, really. It's a very unique, and I think that sometimes I get sad because when I watch older videos of their lives and stuff, like they were even more involved with the fandom.
Definitely pulled back a lot. Yeah, yeah. I hope that somewhat they will find a way of feeling good again
Mhm.
online because this is really, I
Yeah,
feel that's what happened. Like they just disconnected because they weren't feeling good in it.
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
somewhat like we can do social media in a way because then like the real fans are the one that pay for it, like not the toxic
True,
one. And so to find a way to
true.
really, keep on connecting with the real fans in
Yeah,
a way that it does feel like that connection is really there.
yeah. It's true, and I feel like that's why it's so exciting that they still do workshops
Yeah.
and the world battles and stuff, that they still do go out. And it's different. Like how they are online is not the same as how they are in person, and vice versa. And neither's better or worse. But if you're only able to be an online fan, I think for me, I probably would have kind of pulled away by now just because of all the stuff that happens in the Instagram fandom, and you know who they're reposting and who gets attention and like, that's too, I'm too old for all that. I don't want to be involved in all that. I don't want to fight over whose video it was
Yeah.
to begin with, and I just don't.
Yes.
I don't want to
Yes.
do all that.
Yes. It's
So
unnecessary drama. Yeah.
lots of drama. So it's fun to see different sides of them for sure.
Because yeah, it feels
Yeah.
like they don't really value social media all that much. So
No, yeah, I don't think they do.
yeah,
And I understand, like, they've probably
yeah,
been through it.
exactly.
I think they've probably had to deal with a lot of nonsense,
Yeah,
you know.
that's why I'm hoping like that they can like find a way of just like connecting with the ones who deserve it,
Mhm.
really.
Yeah, yeah. Like Jason Derulo, for a while, he had like a little online community you could join, and he would interact with his fans in that way, and it was more like I'm not a big Jason. I think he's great and he's a great performer, but he's not my guy. So I wasn't that interested in that. But like if
Yeah.
they could do something like that, I think that would be just a more intimate or
Mm,
selective. Like people
yeah.
could self-select to join. You know, you're not going to just have the haters and the have I don't know. There'd still be drama though. When they're targeted too by their supposed fans. I think that is pretty disappointing and hurtful for them. Hard, and they have been so good about opening their lives to us. Like we should be a little bit more grateful, I think, sometimes.
And because I feel like even in especially in like workshop settings when where they are in a physical environment, they do talk, they do say things,
They do.
like they do
Hmm.
open up. So yeah,
Hmm.
respecting that.
And I know that they have definitely told fans previous in different settings and stuff like put your cameras down, just be in the moment with us, you know. And that has to be that's crazy to me too. But when you see the videos, you can even tell. Like they'll be doing a freestyle or whatever, and people are just standing around with their phones and they're not making any noise,
Mm.
you know, because they don't want to make noise in they don't want to ruin their video or whatever. And so they're just like, and
Ah, that's why they're so still. You're right. Yeah, you will see these
it's
people
so
being,
still
yeah,
and
and
quiet, and
quiet.
it's kind of strange.
I find that
Kind of
though,
strange.
because like I've been fan for only about a year, so it's not been that long.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I see, like, I'm so grateful for the people who are filming because it's literally because of the
Yes.
fan who filmed
Yes.
that I
Absolutely.
got to, like,
Absolutely.
if it wasn't for that person filming them on the Renaissance tour and me, being on
Oh, I know.
YouTube and seeing it. So I feel like I wouldn't film if I was there because it's just not me.
Yeah.
Like, it feels
Yeah.
like it takes me away from the moment.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate people who film.
Oh yeah, I definitely filmed every time I've met them, for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I've filmed different things, but I've also put my phone down too and just been there. And I think it's good to have a mix. And I just wonder sometimes, like, what is it like to be them, to just have all these people staring at them and just, recording and not
Mm.
cheering or anything, just silently recording. It's got to be surreal.
I just know that there have been many artists who feel that in shows that people are so quiet. Like, and you go, like, you might go to a
Yeah,
rock and roll show and people are quiet. It's
yeah,
weird. And,
yeah. That's not how I grew up.
no, exactly. So I know that, like,
Yeah.
there's some people, like, I'm a Jack White fan and the White
Oh yeah,
Stripes, yeah. And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he makes you put your phone in it's like in the sealed bag that you keep in your
Mhm.
backpack, and there's no filming, nothing. And because
Wow.
he wants you to
Yeah.
be present, because he was like, I was just doing these shows and people are just behind their phones being quiet because they
Yeah.
want to record, and
Yeah.
it's just it
Yeah.
didn't feel like a real show anymore.
That's what I think sometimes when I've seen them. It's so strange.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
But,
Yeah. And they've even said, like, I've seen it in videos and I heard them say it in real life, that their fans are the worst to go to battles. They don't invite their fans to
yeah.
battles. They are not they, we are
Okay.
the worst because we don't cheer. We're too busy filming, and
They said
and
that. Wow.
yes, they've said it more than once, and they said it on the cruise. Both of them were like, I do not invite fans to battles. You guys are the worst. You don't cheer for us. And I felt so bad.
That I've actually wondered because like the recent battles is true. Like, the recent one, the next urban legend, yeah, and other ones, it's pretty quiet.
Hmm.
And I was
It
wondering, I
is.
was like, why is it quiet? And then I heard people being like, oh, it's because they're in Paris and people don't like them in Paris. And I'm like,
Yeah,
yes and
yeah.
no. Like, oh, that's so interesting. We need some cheering
I
fans.
feel so bad. Yeah, because dance especially is such a physical and emotional
Yeah.
art form, and they really need that energy from the
Yeah.
crowd. It like
Yeah.
takes them to the next level, which Laurent told me in Houston. He's like, I'm barely here. Like he was amazing. Like the things his
Yeah.
little solos, I was just like, you're amazing. He's like, no, I need something to really lift me up.
Oh,
There has to be something to take me to the next level. And
okay.
like
So
I
he
can
needs
see that.
something to be mirrored back to him in order for him to take the
He
energy
needs that
up.
energy.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Hmm.
beautiful.
They're so in tune with, everything around them when they're dancing, whether it's they're just doing a cipher but I would say like in a battle, they really want that. They want that cheer, you know, that burst of energy coming towards them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So, yes, I've heard the same thing that in Paris they don't get the same kind of love that they get around the world. Which is sad because, that's where they're from. But, they're the kids that got out, and they made it big, and there's a lot of jealousy, and they've been at it a long time, and people want their turn.
And I find that there's also this very subcultural mindset that I had encountered as well when I was like in my teens in punk rock. And
Yeah,
there is this like, we need to stay pure. We cannot be mainstream. We cannot, like, if you
right,
make it big and if you make money, it means that you're corrupted. And which is,
right. You've sold
you're
out.
sold out.
Right. Isn't the dream to be able to do what you love for a living? Yeah,
It's an interesting dynamic. But I
for sure.
also really wanted to ask about the cruise because I know that you've been,
Yeah,
and yeah, I wanted to ask you how was that experience?
it was fabulous. Cruise. I've only been on one cruise prior to that.
Okay.
I recommend cruising to everyone. It's so relaxing to just be on the ocean and everything's taken care of for you. You
Yeah.
don't have to worry about
Yeah.
anything and you're going to these beautiful places. And on top of that, you get to see your very favorites,
It's the
just
best.
living life, just
Yeah.
hanging out with their buddy right there and
Yeah.
you're right here and you're like, oh my God, he's right there. Um, and there was lots of different activities so that there's lots of opportunity to interact with them and kind of mingle with them and talk to them and
Beautiful.
feel like they um, kind of remembered who you were. Like
Oh,
that was my biggest thing. Like, when I went to Houston and I could see that they recognized certain fans and stuff. I was like, gosh, I just hope someday they'll recognize me. They'll remember who I am. And so I went to Houston, and then I went to a world battle in
ah,
LA. And
oh,
then a full year later, I went on the cruise,
okay.
and they did remember me. And so that was just like my dream come true. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So.
awesome. Oh,
Yeah, because I don't feel like they know who I am in Instagram. Like I don't. I'm like I'm just one of the millions, right?
yeah.
But when you go to an event and they recognize you, it just feels like,
Oh, that's
wow, that's the
awesome.
coolest. Yeah. So
And I think you
they
told me
did.
that you had a few cool moments with Larry, chatting with him on the cruise.
Yeah, he was just so kind and such a just a no, just a full of positive energy. He just seemed really happy and he was just so kind and friendly and kind of went out of his way to come talk to us and it was just really nice. And Laurent, I felt, I just feel like that's his nature. He is much more reserved than Larry. Larry's the gregarious, golden retriever puppy, just bumping around, saying hi to everybody. And Laurent's more like, okay, And when he's on, he's on. Like when he goes to do, like there were two workshops on the cruise, and he's not reserved in those moments. He's very present and in the moment and interacting and all that kind of stuff. But in the off times, he was much more. I don't know. I'm really shy, so I had the hardest time kind of going up
You wouldn't go
to
up to
Laurent
him.
and
Yeah.
asking for
Yeah.
a picture. It was harder because in Europe, I know they don't do meet and greets, but in the U.S., they always do meet and greets, and it's so nice because you don't have to approach them and just interrupt something. Like it's a specific time. You're in line waiting for your turn to get your picture with them, and it's just I like that kind of structure, and they didn't have that on the cruise. Because there's never a moment when they're just not doing something. They're always surrounded by people. Someone's always talking to them, like to go up to them and be like, and they're used to it. It's not, they don't give off an air that you're bothering them at all, like in these events. They know people who are coming up with their camera, take a picture and move on. But for me, that was stressful. That was really stressful. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
nice.
and being around other fans was fun too. Some people that I had been talking to and had never met,
Mm-hmm.
and so that was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to know people on a face-to-face level was
Yeah,
really nice.
yeah, it would be. And just
Yeah.
before we close, I wanted to ask you, as a therapist, what do you think that their art does to people?
I think it's from what I can tell because I've heard so many people talk about mental health and Les Twins. Like it's more so than I've heard with other celebrities, right?
Totally, yes.
I think I think that they have a way of making people feel important and valued and beautiful in their own way. They are always talking about if you can walk, you can dance. Like they never make people feel like they're not good enough. And
Oh, that's
that's an amazing,
beautiful.
beautiful thing. Like
Mm.
how many people go their whole lives without getting that kind of encouragement, much less from someone that they admire and respect so much. And
Mm.
every encounter I've had with them, the workshops on the cruise and the world battle and the workshop in Houston, they are very positive people. Yes, they have negative things to say sometimes, and yes, they're human beings and
Yeah.
they're not, they make mistakes too. But the underlying theme with them always is that you can do this. If you love something, whether it's dance or acting or being a therapist or whatever it is, like you should do that.
Mm.
Don't limit yourself. They're such good examples of not letting life get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
They have since they were very, very young, just been so driven and
So
so
focused.
so focused and really made like miracles happen. And
Yeah.
so I think they give people hope. They make people feel special. They make people feel seen.
Mm.
It's people feel connected to them and they're kind of otherworldly. Like
Other people have used that word.
they do things that no one else in the world can do. They're very, very unique and amazing at everything that they do, everything they try. It kills me watching them bowl. Like they are amazing bowlers. Like whatever they put their mind to, they can just really, really do.
Yeah.
And so to be influenced by someone like that and to be able to reach out and touch them, touch their hand, get a hug from them, that's very rare. It's very rare and it's beautiful. And I'm so grateful for Lay Twins. No matter how, like, there are times where I'm just like, "Ah, why won't they look at my stories? Or they didn't recognize me, or, whatever it is. Like, the bottom line is they are such beautiful human beings and they really
Mm.
do bring a lot of love and light into sometimes a really ugly, dark world. And I'm so thankful for them for that. So thankful.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I had goosebumps all along as as you were saying this. Because it,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
they changed me. They really did. So
yeah,
I don't forget that.
yeah, and it's nice to really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah, to just
absolutely.
yeah, to be grounded in that appreciation, and so yeah, you keep like the right
Absolutely.
perspective, and you don't get.
Yeah. Be appreciative because there's so much to appreciate.
Is
So,
there anything else that you would like to add?
no, welcome to the fandom. You're a
Thank
year in. So,
you. Yeah, yeah, I'm like a newbie.
how did you found them through Beyonce? Is that
It was so random. I found them on YouTube. It was just, I always like I listen to tons
love?
of podcasts and like I use YouTube a lot. And I just remember one night, it was after the Renaissance tour had ended, and I really loved Black Parade, the song, and I thought, oh, I really
Yeah,
want to see it like performed live. And
yeah, yeah,
it was like this angle of it was just Beyonce and Larry from this video,
yeah,
and I was
yeah.
just like, I started to watch it and I completely forgot that Beyonce was there. Like, to me, it was like she was irrelevant. And I
Otherworldly.
had
Yes,
like, I just
yes.
started crying. And then, like, for
Uh,
days that I would watch a video, I would see Larry dance and I would just cry. Like, I have like head to toe goosebumps. And it was like, okay, something is happening here.
it's a
And that's how it
phenomenon for
started.
sure.
And then, because I could see
Yay.
that he had a twin, but I didn't, because, it looked the same,
Yeah,
like dressed the same and everything.
I know.
But that, yeah, that's how it started. And it was,
Yeah.
yeah, a good year ago now. And then I
Okay.
remember that, yeah, I went onto their Instagram and it was Super Bowl weekend and Lo was posting a
Oh
lot of,
yeah.
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 So that's how it started. And then they started touring with Jason Derulo pretty much straight after. So it was a good time
Yeah.
to get into the
Yeah, you got
fandom.
lots of content.
Exactly, and it really just fueled me so much. But yeah, there's so many layers on a personal level that I'm still
Hmm.
unpacking, and I feel like one day
Yeah.
I will do an episode when I explain
Yes.
all about that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
You have to, because you get us, here we are bearing our souls and
yeah,
sharing
exactly.
all these things.
Definitely, I will do the same, and I definitely want to go to a workshop, like not just one,
Oh,
as
for
many
sure.
as possible.
Trust me, I never thought I would. I never thought
Right.
I'd actually be able to see them. And
So
it's,
I actually hear so many fans saying that. You're not the first one that they would
yeah,
be like, "Oh, I thought like I was a fan for years. I never thought that I'd have the chance to actually
yeah,
see them."
I know. I'm so jealous of the people who, you know, live in the major cities that they always kind of go to, New York and Las Vegas and LA, Paris and London, and yeah, anywhere in Germany. They seem to love Germany.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, very jealous of European fans. They seem to be able to go to a
Yeah.
lot more things than American
Right.
fans.
Yeah, that some people were saying that. At the same time, I don't know, maybe last year I think it was pretty evenly spread. Do you think?
Yeah, it's just the competitiveness, I feel. Yeah, like, come on. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for doing this. It was
No, thank you for
absolutely
inviting me. I
lovely.
really appreciate it. No, I've really enjoyed listening to everyone's stories, and I see the link through all of us.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
So
beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
Good.
And hopefully they'll hear them eventually too. So
Yeah, who knows? But it would be, I think it would be nice maybe at some point for them if they want to know a little bit of background about their fans and
yeah,
why they feel so
it's right
connected to
here.
them. It's right there. And they can hear the
That's right.
story and the connection. And
Yeah, you're doing a great service.
well, thank you. I always think like, if they ever have like a bad day and listen to an episode, that should come out of it feeling pretty positive about themselves.
Seriously, talk about therapy. How nice that would be to just sit down and listen to people talk about how much they love them and how they've changed their lives.
Yeah,
That's
it's pretty
not
good.
so shabby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so thank you very much for being
sure.
here,
No,
and I really enjoyed it.
I did too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode. As usual, like, subscribe, share, and let me know in the comments if you have any insights that you would like to share with all of us. Thank you so much again. See you all next time.